Hello everyone and welcome back to Prison Architect. My name is Splattercat and we are back here at Splattermax Death Security Prison. Death Security is like 2 steps higher than maximum security. I invented it myself. It's a new prison style. It's a little controversial. I put a sign up over the gate that says everybody gon' die. That has turned. I have had activists. There have been a lot of protesters, but in any case, welcome back. Now, with 90% less kittens in this prison, which is probably why my inmates are so unhappy. But where we had left off, we had gotten our shower built, and we had gotten our holding cell finished, and they're moving the toilets and also the benches. The toilets are kind of optional. The benches are much more necessary. Now, what we need is an actual cell block. So taking a look around now, I think what I may do is I'd like to fence this off here, but I really don't want my prisoners to have any access to the garbage or the deliveries. I would really like to avoid that because they like to get shanks and then they run around nude stabbing each other, and it's not conducive to a healthy prison environment. I'd also like to keep my staff low for now, but I think the next thing I should focus on building is perhaps a cell block. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to my foundations menu here, and I'm kind of just scanning the area to see what I want. I think a 21 by 12 should do it. I kind of played around with this on paper beforehand. So let's go maybe down here. How much space do I have down here? A little bit. Not a lot of bit, though. So 21... Oh, crap. 21 by 12. So there's 12. And there's our 21. Well, let me center that a little better. So we'll go over here. We'll keep this 2 wide. There's our 12, and there is our 21. Alright, so they're going to build that. And really in the early game, from what I've discovered, is you really, and it's doing that thing again where it doesn't want me, oh, it says no materials, never mind. So hopefully the materials will arrive very shortly, and that will actually start. There we are. So now, we're going to need a yard, so we need a yard area. This should hold, I believe, 10 prisoners possibly. I think that's about the number that I calculated it out to. So this should be good for our first boatload of convicts. We have 11 hours left, so we really do want to hustle here. And now I think what I'm going to do is put in... We do need an area for everybody to eat in. So let's go ahead and make our cafeteria / canteen kitchen spot. And this is going to have to be a little larger. And I think that should probably do it right there. And what we'll do to keep this secure is we'll go to materials and we'll seal off the fence right there. And what I'll do is I'll drag a fence down from here for now, just to keep everybody restrained. And while organizationally this probably isn't the best way to do it, I do think that that will keep us separate from the garbage area and everything else. So let me go ahead and put in my doors now for the cell block. And I'm not sure if I centered that one properly. Let me see and make sure. There we go. So now we're centered properly, I think. And that should allow me to make 3x3s all through there, and it should have a 2 wide hallway maybe? Yeah, it looks like it will. So that should work out okay. Our canteen needs an entrance. I'll put that right there. And I think what I'll probably do is once this is built, I'll designate this the yard for now. And what it'll do is this yard will actually expand as I add more and more cell blocks to the south of this one. So all of that is in place. I really think now I should probably start getting everything lit up, getting as much lighting taken down, and also getting as much power cable run as possible. Because I do want my prisoners... Okay, so we've already powered the pump station. I was worried about that. Now, I'm going to try and be as efficient as possible when I lay down this wiring. Your wiring does not have to touch all the spaces. As long as it's within a certain number of squares, you should be okay. And now, suppose I'll put that right there. We'll run this down through the center. I don't necessarily think the power is going to connect properly with the shower. I was going to run one like so, but I don't think that'll power the whole building. We'll run this through here, though, all the way to that end, and that should be okay. And then we'll also run one through here. And I believe that should be enough electrical cable for now. Hopefully with our capacitors in place, that's enough power to keep everything powered. And now we do need to look into our piping situation as well. So let me go ahead and think of a way to pipe everything. I don't want to lay too much pipe in the early game because it's inefficient. And there's tons of stuff for people to do. Hopefully they don't get caught up in their solo mode, kind of standing around doing nothing. I have queued up a lot of building here, and that can sometimes confuse the AI. Sometimes it just gives up and they're like, oh, I quit. And they just don't bother. Now, what else do we need? So let's take a look at our list up here in the top left. We need some guards. We do need some chefs. And this is generally just concerning itself with what we need for our staffing. Although once our canteen and kitchen are up, let's see. Has anybody put in the jail door yet? Is anybody working on that? Let me look around. And I can actually do this through my reports here. They're moving electrical cable. And looking through here. I don't see anybody carrying doors. And I don't see anybody queued up for placing doors either. Well, we'll give it a minute. We don't have a lot of time to burn, though. We only have 8 hours, so hopefully someone comes along and places that door. I'll go ahead and try and re-queue it, maybe. We'll see if we can do it now. But that is going to put it on the end of the list, unfortunately, so that kind of sucks. The number one thing we need to get done with our piping is I may have gotten a little overzealous with the wiring, but we'll see where that goes. This is a game that I'm relatively new to. I've built like 2 prisons before this, so don't hold me to a ridiculous standard of prison perfection, because I may let you down. So now our work queue is pretty high right now. I'd hate to overdo it, but they are kind of picking their way through all of the wiring, which is good. And we do need to put shower heads in here, and we will put some drains in as well. Now let me designate, since designating things does not take up any of our work queue, I'll designate this the yard over here. There we are. I'd prefer to keep my yard a ways away from the fences. There we go. Just to keep it nice and even on every side, I'll put kind of a walkway around it. And our yard is going to need phones, and basically we got a $1,500 federal grant right there. That's good. We need the extra money. We will need that in the future. But what I was saying with the yard is I'm going to put some payphones in here. I'm going to put some weight benches. I'm actually going to segregate off some beds and some toilets and things too. And I'm going to designate mostly free time for my prisoners just to kind of keep them in line. So hopefully that door comes along. Where is that door? Door? That's still wiring. And still, okay, there it is. So installing jail door is coming up, which should then allow them to raise or lower the rest of this cable. We do have a lot of cable to sit down, so it'll be okay. Now, I apologize if it's kind of dark. It gets kind of dark at night in this game. Go figure. Who would ever thought it would be dark at night? We do need to lay piping at this point, though. So let's get some piping in place because our prisoners are going to want water. So I think what I'll do is we'll do kind of a main thoroughfare for the piping right there. And then we'll also lay major piping underneath the cable there. And we'll lay piping here as well. And that will probably give us the ability to take small pipes and hook up all this stuff. Now it looks like some of my electrical wire did not get placed right there, so I'll replace that. You gotta keep an eye on it. Sometimes it deletes middle squares, and it's hard to tell why it does it, but it does do it on occasion, so keep an eye on your grid. And so once they get all that piping laid down, we've got 6 hours left, so we are gonna be cutting it close. But let's get the rest of our canteen and everything done, because first and foremost, we want to keep people fed. The other things we can kind of deal with as time goes along. There we are. And for now, we can expand the size of this later, but this should do for now. And we'll go ahead and call this left part. Where are you at? Where are you at? There you are. We'll call this right part the canteen and this left part the kitchen for now. This isn't as it's gonna get bigger in the future, so don't worry. Now, so So if the kitchen and canteen appear small, they are going to be expanded, and we're actually going to cut the yard down as we kind of expand downwards. Now I may have to knock walls out to do this. Making buildings larger can be a little bit of a pain, but hopefully we'll deal with it as it comes. Other objects we're going to need. So let's get our materials out here. We're going to brick wall this up. We'll get a little walkway in the middle, and this is going to be our shower room. And we are going to want to use a lot of metal detectors. I've noticed that people tend to get shivved in the shower a lot. Like, the shower seems to be where all manner of general unpleasantness occur in my prisons in the past, so hopefully we can resolve that as well. Let me look at my utilities one more time and make sure the cable is being laid. It's saying that this job is blocked. So let me cancel it. And I will reschedule it, and it's still saying it's blocked, so why is it blocked? Let's take a look here. I don't think it's actually blocked. I just think they're not working on it, so hopefully someone will lay that down in the future. Now our piping is going in rather nicely, so we are going to need some objects for our kitchen. We're going to need some sinks, so we'll rotate those so they're faced properly. There we are. We're going to need some cookers, so let's find those here. There's our cooker. And we're going to need some fridges. And I don't really know how the fridges face. I'm going to assume they face that way. And so now we've got fridges. So hopefully someone will lay down some wiring here. And see, like I said, I'm pretty sure that was there before. It kind of removed it, and now they're placing it. So sometimes it'll give you false reports. It'll say that things are blocked when they aren't. You have two choices. You can either give it some time and hope that it turns out okay, but since I'm on camera, I tend to just kind of take the precaution of deleting it and recreating it and just hoping it works out. Now we do need to run some of our thin piping. Now the difference between thin piping and thick piping is thick piping carries water pressure. Thin piping can go underneath like double walls and things like that. However, its pressure gives out after a little bit. Now what I want to do here is just create kind of a grid of light piping. And in the future, I'm going to put metal detectors in front of every major gathering area so our guards can always be Johnny on the spot and take care of it. Speaking of guards, we do need to hire them, so we're going to go here to our staff menu. We're going to click guard, and we're going to place them here and here for no particular reason. But we are going to need guards now that we have intake coming in 4.5 hours, so we do want to get this piping laid real fast. Hopefully all this is in place before we finish. The canteen is going to need serving tables, so we'll do that. Let's see here, serving tables. And the serving tables are large. You don't need them to be in any particular spot. They can get to the serving tables either way, and I probably should have planned this room better. This room is kind of small. Well, for now, one serving table will do it. And what I'll do is I'll remove this designation in the near future, knock out this wall, and expand it. I made this far too small. That was kind of an organizational mistake on my part. I'm going to place a jail door here, just so we don't have to worry about people sneaking into the kitchen. Your convicts can get different objects from different areas of the prison, so they can get needles and pills from the medical bay, they can get knives from the kitchen, and they can bring things in with them. I've even seen convicts with guns, which is just horrifying. Like, how he got a gun into the prison system, I don't know. But, oh well. Lastly, I need to get some doors in place to take care of all this. So we'll place these last 3 doors here. We'll triple these up. And that being done, we're going to set these to employee only, these to employee only, and that should keep everything locked up the way it needs to be. Our health research is almost finished, and hopefully I don't have too many jobs laid down right now. The last of our power appears to be going in. Our power grid is holding out perfectly fine, which is awesome, because the last thing we need is power issues. Now, I could pull some of these lights, so I think that's what I'll do. Is I'll dismantle some of these lights just to get them out of the way, and they'll save them for later. We don't really need that many lights. Hopefully, the canteen stuff will be in here very shortly. I think one serving table should be okay for avoiding problems for now. However, in the future, even with 8 prisoners, this canteen isn't really going to hack it. Next thing I'm going to do is start making my jail cells. So there we are. And that's going to be our 3x3 pattern all the way across. Now, if I've planned this correctly, everything should look nice and sexy, and it should leave us with 10 cells in which to place our prisoners. They may have to sit in holding for a little bit. The crowding of your prison tends to exacerbate issues. It makes them get frustrated a lot quicker. It makes them get angry a lot quicker. So we don't want to keep them in holding for too long. What's going on with my utilities here? How come the piping isn't working? Piping? Has it just not been put in yet? Oh, I didn't even connect the large pipe to the piping center. God. Like, what's gone wrong here? Surely I cannot have failed at micromanaging. That's never happened before. So they'll put that piping in now. And we are going to have to run some piping over to here. So let me do that real fast. We'll take water pipes, and we're going to need water pipes for the sinks, I think. So let's grab that. And just in case, it's flashing at me now. We've got 2 hours until our first batch of prisoners arrive. And that should supply enough to keep everybody happy. Now, other things to concern ourselves with. You can see here that these aren't powered. I actually think these require direct hookups in retrospect. So we'll place that last wiring so that we can use the fridge. We do need to hire some cooks now, otherwise nobody's going to cook any food. So we'll take 2 of them as well. I prefer to have 2 cooks per 8 prisoners, and I prefer to have 2 guards per 8 prisoners. And that tends to keep things locked down. You still will have trouble. In the early game, you're going to see a lot more trouble than you'll have in the later game. But for now, we just want to avoid trouble altogether. They are going to get frustrated if they don't have showers. So let me get the showers placed too. And the important thing to remember with showers is you need somewhere for all this water to go. If the water starts piling up on the floors, your prisoners get really angry for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why, but they do tend to get frustrated about it. So we'll place drains. I don't really... There we go. That should be enough drains, I think, to keep the whole thing drained out. We'll put metal detectors here on each end of the cell block and also on the entrance to the canteen. And once all that is in place, I think we'll be in really good shape here. So we're running out of time. I'm not really the quickest builder. I like to take things slow and build large in the early game. But hopefully we will have adequate facilities built in the next little bit so that bad things don't happen. Now, I do want this wiring to be placed, though. So is this wiring being placed anytime soon? I think this guy's got it right here. Yep. Now, if your prisoners have weapons, I'm covering this a little early because we haven't even had any fights yet or anything, but if your prisoners have weapons, they actually occasionally flash them. So occasionally they'll take them out and put them away, and you can manually select guards to go and search them, and I'll show you how to do that in the future as well once we actually have prisoners. Our toilets are ready to roll. Our cell block should be up and running pretty soon, so our cell block's not going to be ready in the early game, but we'll see what we can do. I am going to grab some objects and place them in the yard. Just some early objects to keep people happy, so we'll put some phones in the corner there. We will take walling and we're going to put in some toilets on one end so that they can poo while they're in the field, because sometimes they don't look after their own needs during free time. Like, they'll just ignore it altogether. But with the arrival of our prisoners, I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. I do need to look at my regime. So let's take a look here and see what we can do. That sleep time's a little long, so I'm going to get rid of that. And what I like to do personally, this is just me, is I like to give lots of free time, which doesn't seem very draconian for a security, you know, a death security prison, but it does actually keep them a lot happier. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, is that when you give them free time, they kind of do whatever they want whenever they want, and that's going to help you in the long run. It's kind of a lesser known bug of the game. Now I do need to assign all these doors real fast before the prisoners arrive. They are here. And as you can see, a truck will come in, and there's our first 8. So let's see who we've got here. We've got kind of a Black Charles Manson looking guy. I'm going to assume that he was a pimp or something because he's got his hair slicked back. We've got a white guy with cornrows. Although we don't have... There's one model that looks like Kid from Kid and Play, and it's pretty hilarious. I like them when they're in my jail, but... Oh, good, and they walked through the receiving area. Guards, come take care of this. Maybe they won't take care of it as long as that's a... Will they? Guards? There they are. Alright, so they're going to take all these guys to the holding cells, and now that all this is built, we need to go ahead and everything looks nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the final objects here, and now that they've all arrived, this is probably where I'm going to break off the episode. So every prison cell needs a bed, a toilet, and you can put some other stuff in there as well. But my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in this episode, and I hope you're enjoying our coverage of Prison Architect by Introversion Software. I will put the link if you want to go ahead and purchase it down below, and I will see you in episode 3. You take care out there, guys.